what's up, y'all? It's your boy DJ Fanatic at soundsforproducers.com. If you haven't subscribed, please click that sub button, click the bell as well so you'll alert to more videos such as this, which I haven't done in a long time, man. I actually haven't done a beat breakdown or making a beat live on camera in a minute for this channel anyway. Because I actually been doing a lot of producer interviews, so hopefully all the producers out there are getting a lot of value from that. Artists as well, it's all good. If you're a producer slash artist, it's all good. You know, you're creative and you're in the music industry, is all good. And a lot of the value that's in those videos is transferable, you know, in between each, so it's all good. So make sure you check those out. If you haven't seen them, make sure I might link them in a playlist at the end of this video, so that way you can check them out. And shout out to all the producers that I interviewed. Definitely really dope and grateful that, you know, I'm able to just kick it and give value to the community. So let me show you everything I did in this beat. Basically, I'm gonna go over sound selection, whatever I did to make it dope, like maybe some mixing stuff and maybe some techniques or whatever. Whatever you get out of this video, hopefully you get something out of it, maybe even just inspiration. That means something. So let me show you what I first started out with. The first thing I started out with was actually MIDI data. I usually start with something from one of our packs. I think this was the Scorpion Sting series. No, my bad, it's the Sauce series. There's 3 different volumes per each pack. There's 3 different volumes for each series, so I'm not sure which one it was, but all I did is grab the MIDI out of one of these. Usually there's like MIDI equivalent to whatever the audio is, and I just dragged it onto the channel rack onto Omnisphere, and I had to select which sound I wanted, of course. But yeah, let me play exactly what I have here. This is what I started out with. And the sound was actually pretty dope. I don't think I did too much to it. I got it out of Omnisphere. You don't need all these super fancy plugins to kind of like get great sounds. You can actually use whatever you have and then just tweak it, you know, until you get in the mixing stage. Basically add plugins, reverb, delay. Just learn your plugins really well, and you can always kind of recreate some of these sounds and also make them more unique. This sound was the Sine Pluckles, my glasses, Pluckies, Sine Pluckies 1 in Omnisphere, and I think I did some plugin stuff to it as well. Yeah, of course I always use EQ. I cut off the lows, and I use halftime to kind of give it some extra extra-ness, if you will. This is without plugins. And this is with plugins. So it's just a lot more busy and more going on. And also with this MIDI data, I just grabbed it from one of the packs and pitched it up, I believe, 4 semitones. So this is the original key. And I just moved all the data, Control A, moved it up, I think 4 or 3, just to kind of change the key and just see what other key I would like it in. So that's a little tip you can do with MIDI data. If you didn't know, it's basically called transpose. We transpose from different notes or even octaves, and you can even take out notes and get really creative if you want. So next thing I was like, yo, let's keep vibing. So this is the next sound that I chose. So it's like a soft pad in the background, very open and eerie like. The sound that I chose was Omnisphere 2 as well. I'll show you what that is. Show you exact sound that I chose. I didn't want nothing too full. I just wanted like this background feel, because the plucks have so much movement and it's kind of a contrast with this type of sound. And when you're doing sound selection, you kind of want to pay attention to the different sounds you add. This is the Holy of Holies pad. And actually, I might want to favorite that one. Let me see if I can. Yeah, it's already favorited. Cool. I like that one. That one's just straightforward. The next sound I chose was probably with arcade, with output. It was a lead, so check it out. So with that, all I did was just cut the lows and cut the highs. So I kind of boxed it in and created like this using just these frequency range, like the mid up to like high mids. So I really isolated that sound. So the next thing I did was a bass line, and I think I found this in Arcade too. Yep. So I kind of just pieced together different things. So this is with the bass line. Let me see if I can, yeah. And I really thought that bass line was crazy. So what I did, I added some sauce to it. You know what I mean? I added a Fruity Parametric EQ2, cut the highs, just a soft curve here. Because with that bass, I didn't want super highs up here. It did have a little high distortion. And I used sausage fattener to kind of beefing it up a little bit and give it like a really presence. And I used the Fruity limiter to sidechain it to the kick once I bring in that sound as well. So that gave, this is the bass without plugins. Let me see if I just solo that for y'all. And this is with plugins. Now that shows you the power of just mixing, not mixing, but sound processing, because you can take a sound and just make it totally unique on your own. Like people are like, yo, where'd you get that bass from? Well, I found a bass I like, and then I just kept adding stuff to it, taking stuff away until I found something that I wanted. So that's basically what I did with these 3 plugins. So the next thing was, I was pretty set with these 4 sounds. I was like, yo, I'm vibing. And it's nothing too crazy, right? Nothing too crazy going on. So it's not too busy yet. But I was like, yo, I got 3 or 4 melodies going on. I got 3 melodies and 1 bass. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. I'm feeling it. So then I was like, yo, let me get to these drums right quick. So this next, all the percussion is from our packs here. So this particular drum, what was that? That was the Angry Kick 2. And this is a quick way to find out where you got the sound. Just open it in the Fruity wrapper and just drag it. And that was in the Sauce Volume 2 under kicks in the bonus one shots. So that's the kick that I chose. So check out the pattern. Notice it's 2 different patterns, but 2 different rhythms. Just a little change up. So here it is. See, it has almost like a boom bap rhythm, but it has a little bit of change ups, and that's how I wanted it to be, like unique. It has a hint of boom bap rhythm to it. Notice the tempo is 92, and usually boom bap or lo-fi, whatever, like that old school vibe, like 90s music is around 90s BPM, like 90 BPM to almost, I think, 97 or whatever. So it's very, very unique when you think about it that way. So let's see, with the kick, I use Fruity Parametric EQ2 to cut off a little bit of highs. I use Sound Goodizer. Basically, that is a compressor, and it's presets based off of the maximizer. So basically, that gives it a little more presence. And I tried Fruity Soft Clipper, but I didn't like the effect, what it did to that particular kick. With that kick, I also pitched it I pitched it down so that way it matched the key a little better. Remember, your drums need to be pitched too. They don't need to be, but you might want to pay attention to the pitch of your drums as well to kind of get a more professional sound. So the next sound was the snare, and that snare is from, let me see what pack that was from. And that was a reverb snare, so that was from the Sauce Volume 2 as well. So actually no, that's from this other snare down here. So notice the run snare is the main snare, which is crunchy. That's out of the Scorpion Sting Volume 3 in the bonus one shots under snares. So that snare is right here. Now the beat, you're feeling it now. So basically I did some Fruity Parametric EQ2, cut off the lows, bring up a little bit of the mids around 952 hertz, and also added just a touch of reverb. These are settings. You can pause the video and watch it later if you like. I raised the decay up just a tad here, and the wet level is right there, like below maybe 40%. Raise the low cut. I didn't want to reverb any low frequencies, but they're already cut off here. I kind of do that by habit. The size level is like halfway. I didn't want to make it too large. Just a subtle touch of reverb to kind of fill it out a little bit. So the next sound was the hi-hats, and I use a hi-hat loop from one of the packs as well. Let's see which pack that was from. That was from the drum loops section of the Scorpion Sting Volume 3. So it's a pretty straightforward hi-hat pattern, but I switched it up a bit, and I'm going to show you a little tip you can do with hi-hats. So let's play it all together with the hi-hats. Nice. So basically what I did with that hi-hat loop, I used Fruity Parametric EQ2. You notice a lot of times I cut out a lot of frequencies that I don't need out of every instrument. That's how you get really good mixes. That's a big gem, because a lot of people are like, yo, who mixes your beats? Yo, who mastered that? Like, do you send your stuff out? This is what I do. I'm showing you my technique. You can take it and run with it. Hopefully it helps you out. But also subscribe and support those that help you. With that, I threw on gross beat. So let me show you which. I used just a basic 3. It's a repeater basically, and I was trying different ones to see what kind of rhythm I wanted. And I used Fruity Panomatic, which takes the sound and moves it left to right. And this is the mount level, this is the speed, and this is the type of LFO you want. This was a triangle. So I kind of wanted it sharper, and it bounces back and forth, and at the same time with a different rhythm. And then I added just a touch of reverb. So this is without all the plugins. And this is with. Notice how the reverb gives it a lot more distance, like it's further away, but also almost sounds like it's pitched up a little bit. But also the Panomatic has it moving around, so it's busier. So that's what I mean by just taking a basic loop, and you can kind of create whatever your mind, whatever your imagination takes you. And I was just freaking it. I was like, yo, let me try this, let me try this, let me try that. And this is what I ended up with, and it sounds pretty cool with this beat, I thought. So just to give you an idea, you hear like a simple lead in a loop pack, but you can just totally just go creative with it. So the next thing, let's see what was next. It was like let's just open all those up. It's the reverb snare right here. Very subtle, hear it? So basically that little clap at the end of every 4 bars. I wanted just a little closure there. I thought it was kind of cool. So that sound was, where is it? Because it was kind of backwards what I did. Yeah. So all I did is cut the lows, and that was from, I can show you what pack, just in case if you're interested. That's the actual sound. Let me open that. That was in the sauce volume 2, reverb snare. And I kept the same pitch because I like how it sounded with it. The next thing was, I think I added like a percussion sound. Oh, it's a vocal sound, so check it out. So that is on the downbeat, this sound right here, and already has reverb built into it, but you can always switch that up if you want. And then I use another vocal effect, classic, but what I did was, this is pan left and right. If you go to the control here, notice it goes left and right, just to add a little more creativity to the beat. So those are little sprinkled, like little background stuff that kind of adds to it. And then I was like, you know, I'm vibing right now, I'm listening. And I was like, it needs just one more thing, especially for the chorus. I was like, yo, let me just add some simple chords. And I'll show you that in a second. But with the vocal on every downbeat, all I did was add a little more reverb, actually a longer decay and a higher wet level. So these are the settings for that. But I wanted to kind of just have a little more space and just kind of fill the beat out more. So the next thing I added was those chords that I was telling you about on the chorus alone. So check it out. Alright, that's every element in the beat. I noticed that I didn't really pan much. I did some stereo separation with the pad. I didn't pan anything. Let me look at, usually when I do that, the sound, well, I did pan the hi-hat, but the sounds kind of move around on their own. Notice the left and right levels. Yeah, so you kind of get the idea. Like, the panning would have been a little too extra for some of the stuff, so I was happy the way it was. Usually I won't pan anything unless I know that it adds to the beat. So with mastering, I used the Isotope Neutron 2. I'll just show you my settings. It really doesn't matter because you can kind of create a whole new thing, like just go ham with this and create so many nuanced things. But all I use is an equalizer on the mastering chain. Had a little boost here, compressor. These are my settings here. I'll show you. Before, after. And I could show you how it sounds with Ozone 8, which will really make it a lot cleaner. It already sounds great, but I wanted to take it that extra step and really go ham with the mastering part of it. Watch your ears. You might want to turn your volume down just a tad. If I get too many underruns, I'll just stop the video. Notice it's at 57%, but we'll see when I hit play. God, that sounds great. So if I take off all the mastering, this is what it sounds like. Not bad, actually. And this is with mastering. And mastering takes me about a half an hour after I finish the beat. With Ozone 8, I'll show you my settings. Usually I use the mastering, what do they call it? The mastering assistant, the master assistant. And then I kind of tweak everything. So start out with the EQ, just a little boost here. That explains why it's brighter. A dynamic EQ where basically it's working with these type of frequencies at certain times and kind of rounding it out. I always use the imager just to kind of hone the beat and, you know, the polarity of it, left and right signals. So I use the vector scope based on every frequency. I get a little techie about it because, you know, I want my stuff to sound great. So this is what I do. And I use vintage tape. Pretty much every beat has really cool nuances to it. It makes your beat sound like a lot fuller. I mean, you can do some really cool stuff with this, like changing the speed of the tape. I just love that sound. It's really cool. And the maximizer, of course, at the end of the chain, where I try different modes and, you know, different thresholds and whatnot. So I don't want to bore you to death with all of that, because you can learn on YouTube at tons of different ways to master, and every engineer and every producer has their own way, and some producers don't even master the beats. They just throw Fruity Soft Clipper on the end or maximizer and use a preset. So it doesn't matter as long as it sounds good to you in the end. And also, if it sounds good to your customers and they buy in a beat, go for it, man. It doesn't really matter how you do it or what plugins you use. As long as you're happy with it and you're ready to make it sell, go for it. Now, if it's not selling and you're happy with it, but you want it to sell, you might want to be open to other interpretations. So that is the mastering part of it. That is the mixing part of it. Didn't really do much. All you got is leveled out, no panning, only stereo separation. And I went over every sound pretty much. I think I did. So let me start the beat from the beginning so you vibe out with the plugins as well. And yeah. And by the way, there's links in the description for even for you to preview the pack before purchasing it. I did drop the prices down for y'all, so have fun. I know we in the COVID era and the whole world's a COVID area. And I know it's kind of rough out there, so definitely wanted to help you guys out and gals out, producers out, just in general, man, because it's important for you to stay creative and do what you love. So anyway, here it is. Check it out. Bring it in. First verse. Gotta give space for the artist right here. A little break. And I love how that kick is cutting through the bass. Alright, so hopefully you enjoy the beat, hopefully you enjoy the video, you got something out of it. And again, I want to stress that this whole beat started with just some MIDI data, man. Just something that I grabbed out of one of the packs, threw it on here, pitched it up a little bit, and it started throwing a little bit of effects on there. you know, trying different things, and I was inspired to make this whole beat just with that one little element. So yeah, anyway, run with it, be creative, and stay positive. Don't let everybody's fear consume you, man. The sky's the limit, you know, with your music, and always remember that. So anyway, again, it's your boy DJ Fanatic. Beats at soundsforproducers.com. Get those links in the description. Hit the sub button, click the bell as well. I'll see you at the next video. Peace.